If you spend any significant amount of time working at a computer and have the slightest bit of interest in tech, then you'll at one point or another, or maybe even right now, have been considering getting yourself a mechanical keyboard. But with the seemingly infinite number of keyboards out there and the hundreds, if not thousands, of videos reviewing those keyboards, which one is the right one for you? Today, I'm going to share my experience, and hopefully by the end of this video, I'm going to answer that question for you once and for all. Hey, it's Harrison, and as a professional photographer and videographer, I not only spend a lot of time out on site shooting content for clients, I also spend a lot more time at a desk editing that content. Because of that, I'm always on the lookout for equipment that will either improve my workflow, increase my productivity, or just make working that little bit more enjoyable. And this is where the mechanical keyboard comes in. This is the mechanical keyboard that I have been using almost every day since 2022, and it is the Keychron K3 Ultra Slim mechanical keyboard. Now, if you want to go and check this keyboard out for yourself, you can do so with the link in the description. But just to go over some of the headline features of this board. This specific model has the ability to work wired, but also wirelessly via Bluetooth. It is both Mac and Windows compatible. This model that I've got as well has also got hot swappable switches. I also went with the linear switches, but you can also get tactile or clicky versions as well. I've got the white backlit version, but it also comes in full RGB, and it is a 75% layout. Now, I really have been using this almost every day since 2022, and I've been thoroughly enjoying every minute of it, to be honest. The tactile nature of the keys, and I'm not talking about the switches. Like I say, I've got the linear version, so it just goes straight down and back up, but I just mean that feeling of the mechanical keyboard. Good solid feel when you hit those big buttons. Now, as I mentioned before, it does come as Bluetooth enabled, or you can have the wired connection. I personally don't have any requirement for the minimal amount of latency possible, so I'm more than happy to declutter my desktop as best I can by using the Bluetooth connection. But it is nice to know that it can function as both options if for some reason there might be a lot of interference, let's say, or you're just trying to plug it into someone else's computer immediately and you don't want to have to go through the pairing process. But for me, I like my wireless mouse, I like my wireless keyboard, and I just put it on charge every now and then. You can, of course, charge it whilst it is on Bluetooth, which is actually what I do. I don't want to clutter up my MacBook. It typically has a lot of the ports taken up anyway, so I've got a USB hub. I can plug it into there, USB-A to USB-C, and I can charge it whilst it's still using Bluetooth. Now, I'm also not a PC gamer, so I didn't go for the full RGB, which you can get, but I just went for the clean white backlit version. It's really nice. It still has some of the cool funky patterns that you can get on it. You can cycle it with the light button in the top right. You can also lock that as well, because I've often catched that and then all of a sudden it starts flashing at me and it's quite disturbing. I personally prefer just the solid on rather than all the flashes, because it gets quite distracting. But what is also really nice about that, even though it's got the solid backlit mode, when you type on it, the keys go off and then slowly fade back on. So it's just a really nice subtle touch to just having that backlight on, but without it flashing in your face. The other thing that I also really appreciate with this is that it is the slim model. So it's actually quite comfortable just on a flat surface. If you do want to raise it up by an angle, you can see you've got little legs here and you can just adjust it about 7 or 9 degrees just to give you a little bit more of a angle towards your fingers. The only real kind of gripe that I have with this, the layout of this is just a solid rectangle of keys. But the one odd issue, and because I use something like Final Cut and I'm jumping between clips and things like that, I actually do use the up and down arrows quite a lot in different things. So Final Cut, spreadsheets, whatever it might be. I did think at the time, are those arrows going to be hard to find without looking? They're honestly not, because they're just right on the corner of the board. However, I do actually sometimes, without realizing, find that I might have drifted over one. So instead of being on up, down, left, right, I'm on control, left, down, and shift. And then all of a sudden I don't know what I'm doing. I end up pressing control on something else and it just goes crazy. It's not a deal breaker, just something to be aware of, because there are different layouts out there where there's a bit more space on the right hand side of the board around the arrow keys. And then finally, the only other thing that I suppose I have been a little disappointed with, and it might be my fault, no one else's, but when I got this and got looking into the mechanical keyboard space, I was getting really excited about getting a board. I got a hot swappable version. I was really expecting to change the switches, change the keycaps more specifically, and get some of the cool funky ones. Initially, when I got the board, I did some searching around and didn't really seem to find any keycaps that would fit this board that are the slim profile keycaps that you need for this. You can obviously fit other ones on, but I was hoping to get more that would actually fit this board. So if the customization is something that you're looking for, then maybe this isn't the one. But again, this is because this is the slim version, whereas the regular thicker boy is typically, those keycaps are much more in abundance. They're the standard ones that most people are using. Not as many people are using these slim profile ones. There really is a sea of options out there. There's loads of different board manufacturers, loads of different types of keycaps, different types of switches. You go down the rabbit hole of which ones make the best sound, which ones are the best for typing, what's the most comfortable, the most resistant to fingertips. Honestly, the mind boggles with how much you can actually get into when it comes to building out one of these boards. But like I say, I think the best bit of advice that I can give to someone that's looking to get their first mechanical keyboard is just get one. Have a look out there, find a reputable brand, find a board that is within your budget, because the prices can go really high if you're not careful, and just take a punt on something that you think might be what you're looking for. Because ultimately, if you don't get that first board, you're never gonna know what you truly like or dislike or need or don't need in potentially the next board that you buy. I got the 75% board. Like I said, mine's just a rectangle of keys. The arrow keys being out in a space would be a nice feature to have on mine, but I didn't know that until I got it. I did think it, but I didn't really know if it was really going to be a problem or if it was no big deal. If you have the same experience, you might find it a bigger problem. You don't know until you just get a board. The same with even the thickness. I went for the slim one in the end because when I actually compared all the thicknesses of these boards, they actually can be quite thick. So I was comparing it to having my MacBook flat on the table. All of a sudden I'm gaining like an extra centimeter of height, and I thought that might actually not fit, so hence why I went for the slim one. Again, I made that educated guess of what I might want, but you're not going to know until you try a thick one, because I might have gotten with a thick one, I don't know. This was the first board that I actually got. And the real question here is whether you're even going to actually enjoy using a mechanical keyboard or not. I've been used to using my MacBook. That's a very different style of keyboard, a lot less travel. All of a sudden you go to a mechanical keyboard, there's loads more travel on the keys. You might not like that. There was a learning curve for me when I got my new board to type. All of a sudden my fingers really had to feel like they were going further. So all of a sudden there's extra travel. You know, if you're a fast typer, it might slow you down for a bit. Maybe you're not a quick typer and you just like that tactile feel when you're editing. Again, you're not going to know this until you take the plunge and just get your first board. You're really never going to know what you want or what you like until you just take the plunge. And that's why for me, I honestly can't see myself buying another board, another mechanical keyboard anyway, anytime soon, simply because this has actually been a great keyboard. It scratched my itch of getting a mechanical keyboard. It feels great. I like the aesthetics of it. It fits in with my desk. It's thin. You know, I did do a lot of research, but I ultimately realized I kind of just need to have one at this point and just try it. So I found a make, Keychron. I found a style, a shape, a size that I thought I might like. I took the plunge, invested in it. I think this was about 89 quid at the time when I bought it. So, you know, not cheap, but definitely not the most expensive. They can go up to like 200-300 quid or even more. If it's the keys and the mechanical nature that you're looking for, you honestly might be happy with a 15 quid board. I was looking at £15 Bluetooth boards when I started slipping down this very slippery slope. Ended up with one of these. It seems like the best beginner's mechanical keyboard for someone that has a little bit of budget to put into it and wants that experience. I'm happy with it. I like the look of it. If you like the look of it too, you can check it out in the description. So let me know, what boards are you looking at the moment? Have you taken the plunge on your first board yet? Have you already got several boards and you're looking to buy another one? Have you got a Keychron? Have you checked this one out? There's a version 3 actually coming soon. So this is the version 2, there's a version 3 coming soon. I think it's got slightly rounder edges. Maybe I get a second one, who knows? I've been super happy with this one. If you do want to check it out, there will be a link in the description, like I say. Hopefully this video was helpful. If it was, don't forget to give it a like. And so you don't miss the very next video, make sure you hit subscribe.